Greg Simons is a Russia politics analyst and professor of armed conflicts and journalism at Daffodil International University. And I'm pleased to say that he joins me here in the studio. Really great to have you with us, Professor. Let's talk about this issue of territory, because we know, as I mentioned there, Zelenskyy says that any issue about territorial concessions would have to be put to a referendum to the Ukrainian people. But earlier today, the Kremlin explicitly saying that the Donbass region, which it currently occupies, is Russian territory. How can that issue possibly be resolved?
It won't be resolved, not politically, because the point is that territory was absorbed from a Russian perspective into the Russian Federation with the referendums that were held on joining the Russian Federation. And as it stands, Russia is not able to have a referendum, especially when, in its perspective, you have foreign citizens deciding over Russian territory whether or not it will be part of the Russian Federation. And the basic point of fact that Ukraine is losing the war, so they don't get to dictate the terms because the terms will be dictated to them. This is the point. The battlefield will dictate if the politics do not facilitate an agreement.
And what about the issue of frozen Russian assets? We know that not everyone in the EU is united on that issue, specifically Belgium. It's concerned that because organisations in Brussels hold much of those frozen assets, that there could be a retaliation against Belgium from Moscow. How do you see that issue playing out?
The main issue is, according to law, international, that is illegal. You cannot do that. It does not matter how you moralise it. So, point of view, if you try to moralise something, it doesn't make it lawful. And Belgium is looking after Belgium's interests, because if Belgium does this, it breaks the law. If it breaks the law, then it is liable to have restitution in a court of law, which will find Belgium liable, which is why it's trying to say to the EU no. And of course, if the EU does this, there are going to be two consequences. The first one, who in the right mind would engage in foreign direct investment in the EU after that? If they brazenly steal money from another country, which can happen at any time. The second point, the Russian Federation, there are a lot of European assets there which can and will be taken as a consequence of that. It's Russia's, how do they call it, symmetric approach to something like this.
And let's talk about the meeting that's happening among European leaders this weekend. They obviously want to present a united front to the United States to counter what they believe was more of a pro-Russian US peace plan for this conflict. What do you think the Europeans will come up with in terms of a counter-proposal?
I don't think they will come up with much because, I mean, if you look at the latest US security strategy, Europe doesn't really feature into it because it's made itself irrelevant by not being part of the negotiation process, namely with Russia. So it is unlikely they'll come up with something, and if they do, they're not able to enforce their will because Russia is winning on the battlefield and they need US support, and the US is unlikely to support them under Trump's presidency.
Okay, Professor Greg Simons, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much again for joining me in the studio.
My pleasure.